Welcome back. In this lecture, we're going to be talking about the process of learning to spell, and I am just going to admit that I am not a great speller, but here is something that you should know. Spelling is not, and maybe you've heard me say this before, spelling is not a sign or measure of intelligence. Spelling uh, is a skill that some people have and some people don't. But as teachers of young children, you have an opportunity to teach spelling skills that will last a lifetime. First, you probably need to know the developmental stages of spelling, and they include um, the emergent stage where children, this is what you see toddlers and preschoolers doing when they scribble letters together or letter-like forms, but they don't associate the marks with any specific phonemes. It's just letter-like forms. So they recognize that writing has a purpose and that's what they're practicing. And that is such an important skill to have. We want children to see themselves as readers and writers. And then the next stage in spelling development is the letter name or alphabetic stage. And this is when children are learning to represent phonemes in words with letters. So at first their spellings are quite abbreviated, but they learn to use consonant blends and digraphs and short vowel patterns to spell many words. And what this might look like in pre-kindergarten or kindergarten or early kindergarten, you might be having children draw pictures in their daily journal and then labeling those pictures with the first consonant or maybe the first consonant and the ending sound to represent the word. And then the next stage is within word patterns, and that's when children learn long vowel patterns and controlled R vowels, but they may confuse spelling patterns and spell things like meat with like M-E-T-E because that's what they've learned. They know that the E has a rule, and sometimes when the E is at the end of the word, it makes the other vowel in the word long. And so that's okay. It's just a part of the process of learning to spell. And then the next stage is syllables and affixes, and this is when children are applying what they've learned about one-syllable words to spell longer words, and they learn to break words into syllables. This is such a good strategy to have. If you can hear the sounds in each part of the syllable, you're going to get more than just the beginning sound and the ending sound. Now you're going to see children writing the letters throughout the word. And then the next stage is the last stage, which develops much later than the children you will be teaching. But this is when students are, this is the derivational relations, when students explore the relationship between spelling and meaning and learn that words with related meanings are often spelled differently despite pronunciation. So we know that the word wisdom comes from the word wise, but we don't say wisdom, right? Or we know that the word signal comes from the word sign, but we don't say signal. So children are learning those relationships in words in that last stage of spelling development. Here are some strategies for spelling unfamiliar words. And this is something that I still practice because I'm not a great speller, but I break the word into its syllables and then have a child say each syllable to themselves so that they can hear the sounds in each part of the word. And then sound out the spelling of each syllable. Think about the rules of spelling. And so we talked about the rules of phonological awareness and phonemic awareness with things like the rule of C and the rule of G. So have children think about the rules of words and vowels and endings. And then check to see that the word looks right. So this is where I, as an adult, get the most help for spelling unfamiliar words or words that are challenging to spell. I can look at it and I could say, you know, I've seen this word before. I'm pretty sure that's not what it looks like. Or yes, that's right. That is what that word looks like. And then, of course, give children a strategy. When I was in graduate school the first time, I put the dictionary app on my phone because there were so many unfamiliar words that I was learning in grad school that I had to look words up. I didn't know what they meant. I didn't know how to spell them. And so I went back to what I learned in grade school, and that was to use a dictionary if you're not sure. And then always ask a friend for help. We know that children learn they learn from their more knowledgeable others or their peers who have a little more skill than they do. And it's just a great life skill to have, right? If you don't know something, you can always ask somebody. And then let's talk about teaching spelling. So first, you have to know what developmentally appropriate instruction looks like. And this requires you to really understand those stages of developmental spelling. And just know that reading, reading and writing instruction do require, golly, sorry, do require you to utilize direct, explicit instruction, but you can make it fun. And children at this stage really enjoy reading and writing. They find it fun and interesting. It's a skill that they see adults using. And so have fun, but know it is going to be direct, explicit instruction. Teachers, you have to differentiate spelling instruction to meet individual children's needs. You have to know where children are at and how to get them to the next level. Kids need daily opportunities to write for a purpose. So not only are you balancing the practice of spelling and writing, but we write for a purpose. When we write, it's not just to practice spelling words. We write shopping lists. We write letters to friends. We write essays in school. So it has to be balanced with writing for a purpose. And it has to be contextualized. Our words have so many different meanings, and some words have a variety of spellings. And so it's important when you're practicing writing for a purpose that it is contextualized so that children are learning when to use the right there, they are, or there. Teach high frequency words. Those are words that we find the most frequently in our language. You might, as a teacher, you might not call them high frequency words to the children. You might have a different name for those words, like star words. I saw one teacher call them rainbow words. But just a way to signal to students that these are the words that we use the most, that you don't need to take your time to sound out, right? You should be able to just recognize these words and read them and write them without having to sound any of the letters out. And then mini lessons are a great way to help you individualize for small groups of children. It's an opportunity for you also to observe where children are at if you're having the opportunity to do small group instruction around spelling. And then word walls. You guys, I did word walls in my toddler classroom. And I always, when you're thinking about word walls, there is a way to do it that is developmentally appropriate for younger children versus children who are in kindergarten through grade 3. If you are teaching toddlers and preschoolers, the words that are on your word wall should be tangible, concrete nouns. Those are the first things that children are looking to spell proper nouns like names, nouns, people, places, and things, right? That's what should be on your word wall when you are teaching toddlers and preschoolers. When you move into kindergarten and older children, now you're going to start to see a variety of words, verbs, adjectives, high frequency words, a combination. If you're teaching younger children or if you're teaching developmental kindergarten, something that I always did, I had a picture accompany the word. So in my toddler classroom, it was 2.5 to 4.5-year-olds. All of my words were nouns and they each had a picture so that children could look to the picture to hear the sounds on the word. And so one of the pictures was a picture of an owl, and the word was owl. So they could go to the wall, look at the word, look at the picture, and identify the picture before they identify the word. It's a great way to help children spell important words. And then word study activities give children the chance to practice spelling concepts. All right, continuing to talk about teaching spelling, here are some activities that you can do to teach spelling. Yes, it is direct instruction, direct explicit instruction, but you can still be fun. You can make sure, one, that you provide opportunities to read and write daily, but also practice making words. And so this is where you choose 5 to 8 letter words. And then children can use cards to practice spelling those words or to review the spelling patterns. I used to cut the words up, mix them up, tell the children the word, and then they'd have to try to decode the word and put it in order. Making word ladders, there's a great example of a word ladder in your textbook in chapter 5, but this is a fun kind of a game way to teach the spelling of CVC words. And so the teacher might say, let's begin with a color word. The word is red, write it now. And then first change one letter to spell the word for a piece of furniture you sleep on. You could see the word was red. Now you're changing the initial sound to write the word bed. And then the teacher might say, okay, change one letter to spell a word that is the opposite of good. What's the word? So now they changed the vowel and the word becomes bad. So red, bed, bad. And then the next word, change one letter to spell the word mad. So they wrote the word bad. Now they have to write the word mad. And so they're changing the initial sound. And then for the last part of this word ladder, they are going to change the vowel to spell the word mud. So word ladders can be a fun kind of a puzzle way to teach spelling. Of course, interactive writing, and then proofreading, and of course, using a dictionary. And then, if you are thinking about assessing spelling, which you will because you need to scaffold and differentiate instruction, first you have to determine the child's spelling level. And here I've placed a picture of the continuum of developmental spelling. So you as a teacher will be using writing samples to identify common spelling errors. You'll analyze the errors, tally them, and then make some decisions about instructional priorities. All right, that's all I have for you in this lecture. Have a great week, everybody.